Hello, I'm Martin, and welcome to Short Stories, brought to you by the National Taichung University of Science and Technology Language Center. Today's short story is called The City Mouse and the Country Mouse. It's another of Aesop's fables. This one teaches the lesson that a simple, safe life is better than an exciting, dangerous life. I took interest in this story because it contrasts rural culture with urban culture, which is an issue that seems to be increasingly important these days, especially in America. There have always been differences between country folk and city folk in America, and these differences have only gotten bigger in the last 20 years. So this story provides a convenient medium for exploring those differences. Anyway, I plan to read the vocabulary and example sentences before I read the story. After the story is complete, I will read 4 listening comprehension questions. Let's go. Vocabulary. Frugal. Frugal. He saved so much money because he lived a frugal life. Make ends meet. Make ends meet. It's very difficult to make ends meet with such a small salary. Organic. Organic. I only eat organic food because it is healthier. Vegan. Vegan. Vegans don't eat meat, eggs, or even cheese. Carouse. Carouse. We were carousing all night, so we are very tired now. That's a pity. That's a pity. They broke up? That's a pity. It's on me. It's on me. Don't worry about the bill. It's on me. Vulgar. Vulgar. The young man told a vulgar joke that made his mother upset. Now the story. Once upon a time there was a mouse who lived in a simple cottage in the country. Country Mouse was a farmer by trade, and although he was not wealthy, he had enough to eat. And thanks to his frugality, he usually didn't have to worry about making ends meet. One day, his cousin, City Mouse, came to visit. Country Mouse served him a modest meal of stewed beef, cornbread, and potatoes. City Mouse at first sneered at that meal and asked, "Is this potato organic?" Country Mouse looked at him with a confused face. "Aren't all potatoes organic?" he replied. City Mouse said, "I'm vegan and I only eat organic vegetables. I'm afraid I can't eat this meal." Country Mouse then said, "I don't know what you mean by organic, but I grew these potatoes myself." City Mouse scoffed, "Well, at least it's farm to table, so I guess I can eat it." After the meal, the 2 mice chatted in the living room next to the fireplace. "Ugh," said City Mouse. "Do you know how much CO2 you're releasing with that thing? We never use fireplaces in the city." Country Mouse asked, "Then how do you keep warm?" City Mouse then explained that city homes use heat pumps that provide both warmth and cooling. "Wow," said Country Mouse. "That must be very convenient." City Mouse grinned and explained all the modern technology that city homes have. Robot vacuums, coffee machines, induction stoves, smart refrigerators, and virtual home assistants. "That sounds amazing," said Country Mouse. City Mouse was feeling very proud of himself. "If you think that's amazing, then wait till you hear about the food and the nightlife." Country Mouse listened eagerly to City Mouse's description of his exciting and lavish life in the big city. He heard about the fancy supermarkets, electric vehicles, bicycles, nightclubs, musical performances, and yoga studios. Then City Mouse gave a suggestion. Say, why don't you come visit my home in the city? Country Mouse thought that was a great idea and started packing his bags the next morning. When the two mice arrived in the city the next day, Country Mouse was amazed by the tall buildings and all the sights and sounds of busy urban life. City Mouse escorted him to his apartment on the 8th floor of a residential tower. What do you think? Asked City Mouse. It's really nice, but it's a little cramped, replied Country Mouse. It may be small, but it's only $3,000 a month, said City Mouse. Country Mouse's jaw dropped. How can you afford to live here? He exclaimed. After dropping off their luggage in the apartment, the two mice went sightseeing. They saw beautiful architecture and green, leafy parks. Country Mouse tried to listen to the birds singing in the park, but he couldn't hear them over the sound of the traffic. That's a pity, he thought to himself. Then he heard something else. Two mice were arguing very loudly in the street. What's that all about? Asked Country Mouse. Oh, that? They're having a political discussion, answered City Mouse. On their way back to the apartment, the two mice were stopped by a beggar. Spare some change? Asked the beggar with outstretched hands. Country Mouse gave him some coins and thought to himself, I thought the city was prosperous. After resting at City Mouse's apartment for a bit, the two mice went out to dinner. City Mouse took Country Mouse to his favorite restaurant, Les Grandes Patisseries. City Mouse ordered several courses of exotic dishes. Langoustine, caviar, quinoa salad with truffles, and a wide variety of cheese. It was all very tasty, but the portion sizes were very small. Is that it? Asked Country Mouse. I'm still hungry. Then the bill came and Country Mouse almost had a heart attack. Yikes! How can we afford to pay this bill? City Mouse pulled out his credit card and said, Relax, it's on me. On their way back to the apartment, Country Mouse couldn't help but notice how many drunks were out and about. They were shouting and carousing and telling each other vulgar jokes. Country Mouse didn't like that. 1 block away from City Mouse's apartment building, they had to pass through a dark alley. Country Mouse didn't like the look of the place, and his fears were justified because they were soon surrounded by 4 scary-looking cats. One of the cats stepped forward, brandishing his claws, and said, Your money or your life. The two mice were terrified. They handed over their wallets and then ran home. We should call the police, suggested Country Mouse. Why bother, replied City Mouse. The last 2 times this happened, I called the police and they did nothing. Country Mouse was shocked to hear this. He decided to go back to the country the next morning and stay there. The next day, Country Mouse was back in his cottage, sipping tea and reading a book. He felt relaxed and comfortable. He said to himself, a simple country life may not be as exciting and glamorous as city life, but it suits me. Now for the questions. Number 1. What did City Mouse tell Country Mouse? A. Country life is better than city life. B. City life is better than country life. C. He is looking for a new apartment. D. Everyone in the city is very friendly. The answer is B. City life is better than country life. Question 2. Which word best describes City Mouse? A. Modest. B. Humble. C. Unassuming. D. Proud. The answer is D. Proud. Question 3. What happened to the mice on their way home from dinner? A. They met a beggar. B. They saw beautiful architecture. C. They heard birds singing. D. They were mugged. The answer is D. They were mugged. Question 4. What did Country Mouse think about his visit to the city? A. City life is not for him. B. City life is perfect for him. C. City Mouse has a very good life. D. City life is very affordable. The answer is A. City life is not for him. That is the end of today's short story. I hope you enjoyed it. I think it's obvious from the story that I am a country mouse. I am biased toward country mouse culture. However, I will admit that there are many conveniences to living in the city. So you just have to decide which one is best for you. Thank you for watching. I will see you next time. Bye-bye.